We're talking about tens of millions of dollars in fraud and theft and robbery across a multi-year investigation.
The NBA has had scandals before, but never anything this wild. FBI raids, whispers of Mafia ties, over 500 players under review, billion-dollar sponsors pulling out, and a Hall of Fame coach caught in the middle. The league is in total chaos. And now people are saying the NBA itself might actually be broke. In this video, we're unpacking the entire story, from that first shocking raid to the league's dramatic collapse. It all started the morning of October 23, 2025. A normal game day turned into pure madness when federal agents in dark windbreakers stormed homes in Oregon, Florida, and Nevada.
Good morning. Today we are here in New York to announce a historic arrest across a wide-sweeping criminal enterprise that envelops both the NBA and La Cosa Nostra.
By lunchtime, ESPN, CNN, and News Nation were all blasting one headline on repeat: NBA bankrupt after sponsors pull out over gambling scandal. In one powerful, coordinated sweep across 11 states, the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of New York said they had cracked open a historic criminal enterprise that tangled both the NBA and the infamous La Cosa Nostra. Among the 30-plus people indicted were none other than Chauncey Billups, the 2004 Finals MVP and head coach of the Portland Trail Blazers, and Terry Rozier, Miami Heat's explosive guard known for his $96 million contract. And no, they weren't accused of missing shots on purpose. They were accused of selling insider secrets, turning locker room whispers into pure betting gold.
We're talking about tens of millions of dollars in fraud and theft and robbery across a multi-year investigation.
Investigators revealed two overlapping operations that blurred the line between pro sports and organized crime. The first, called Operation Royal Flush, was a rigged poker network backed by the Bonanno, Gambino, Lucchese, and Genovese crime families of New York. It stretched from the Hamptons to Las Vegas, using X-ray poker tables, marked cards that could be read through contact lenses, and hacked shuffle devices transmitting deck orders in real time. Over 6 years, victims were cheated out of more than $7.15 million. Prosecutors said Billups was the face card, the celebrity lure meant to make everything look legit. But under those fancy poker tables, hidden cameras and transmitters everywhere. Then came Operation Nothing But Bet, a massive insider gambling ring that ran from December 2022 to March 2024.
I know everybody that's at play, and I don't like to sit up here and be hypocritical about certain things.
Players and coaches allegedly leaked private info, injuries, rest days, tactical changes, to high-stakes gamblers who cashed in on prop bets worth hundreds of thousands. At the Manhattan Press podium, FBI Director Kash Patel didn't hold back. He called the entire setup mind-boggling and revealed agents had seized rigged shufflers, crypto wallets, and illegal firearms. Standing beside him were NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch, Homeland Security officials, and U.S. Attorney Joseph Nola, who dropped the mic with this line: "Your winning streak has ended. Your luck has run out." According to court filings, 3 men, Billups, former player coach Damon Jones, and betting tech expert Eric Ernest, were tied to both criminal schemes. And that's just the beginning. They're facing serious charges, wire fraud and money laundering conspiracies, each carrying up to 20 years behind bars. Inside NBA headquarters, phones were blowing up nonstop. Nike instantly froze its apparel deal with the Blazers, DraftKings stopped all NBA prop bets, and FanDuel wiped every ad featuring Rozier. Market analysts from Front Office Sports estimated a jaw-dropping $2.3 billion sponsorship value drop if major brands refused to renew their deals. Total chaos everywhere. That night on Inside the NBA, the mood was pure shock. You could feel the heartbreak in the air. Shaq's voice even cracked as he spoke about all those mandatory anti-gambling seminars players had to attend every single year. "They'd always tell us what to do and what not to do," he said before dropping the line that broke the internet. "When the FBI comes knocking, they already have you." Charles Barkley didn't hold back either. He clashed with Kenny Smith live on air, refusing to blame it on addiction. "These dudes are stupid," he snapped. "You can't fix games under any circumstance." That fiery exchange spread like wildfire. shared over 40 million times on X within just 24 hours. According to evidence, the conspirators were treating the NBA schedule like a stock market. When Rozier texted a friend, "Shoulder tweak, taking it easy tonight," gamblers went wild, placing massive underbets on his points and assists for the 23rd of March, 2023 Hornets versus Pelicans game. He checked out after just 9 minutes and 34 seconds, and those bets hit for over $200,000 in profit. The next night, Portland benched 4 starters against Chicago and lost by 28. Insiders who got early word, likely from co-conspirator 8, believed to be Billups, cashed out huge on both the spread and the team total under. Federal filings even mention a third leak from Damon Jones, who allegedly sold inside info about LeBron James's secret foot injury before the Lakers-Bucks game on February 9th, 2023. Together, these micro-leaks created a multi-million-dollar chain of insider bets, not on who won or lost, but on the tiniest in-game details that fans would never notice. But the poker side? Way darker. When some players refused to pay their debts, mob enforcers showed up. One gambler was reportedly held at gunpoint over a $30,000 rigged shuffler. Another received threatening texts showing his family's location. FBI photos even revealed a dismantled X-ray poker table, proof of a technology many thought was just an urban legend. Agents called it the marriage of celebrity and Cosa Nostra. What began as fancy poker nights in Miami and the Hamptons spiraled into full-blown extortion hubs, powered by 4 major Mafia families. Even veteran investigators admitted they'd never seen pro athletes tangled this deep in organized crime. By sunset, every NBA media partner was panicking. ESPN canceled Countdown that night, and TNT launched an emergency legal review. Inside the league office, Commissioner Adam Silver held a frantic 9 p.m. call with all 30 team owners, and according to insiders, one owner screamed, "If sponsors walk, 500 players lose jobs." Sponsors didn't wait to see how bad it would get. Gatorade, Microsoft, and State Farm all quietly froze their NBA budgets. The league's $1.5 billion sponsorship pool practically vanished overnight. Stock prices for betting partners dropped 4% within an hour of the FBI press briefing. Chauncey Billups surrendered his passport and posted bond in Oregon, while Terry Rozier did the same in Florida, putting his own home up as collateral. Both men were placed on indefinite leave, leaving their teams scrambling for answers. Portland even had to name Tiago Splitter as interim coach just to stay afloat. Miami scrambled fast. Rookie Alandi Williams got the call-up to fill Rozier's spot while Portland tried to hold itself together under interim leadership. Billups' attorney rushed out a statement to ESPN, swearing that Chauncey never bet on basketball and never betrayed the trust of the game. Meanwhile, Rozier's lawyer fired back, calling the whole case a photo op for prosecutors hungry for headlines. But honestly, the images said it all. 2 NBA stars in handcuffs, side by side on live cable TV. Fans went full detective mode. Reddit threads exploded with resurfaced photos of Billups at Vegas poker tables, while TikToks replayed Rozier's 2023 game exit on loop, claiming he faked that injury to cover his bets. Even former referee Tim Donaghy, who went to prison back in 2007 for betting on NBA games, jumped into the mess with one cold-blooded tweet, "Told you it would happen again."
Rozier makes $26 million. Him betting, giving people information or taking himself out of games, how much is he gonna benefit taking himself out the game to get unders?
By morning, the New York Post dropped its bombshell front-page headline, "NBA a House of Cards." Under it, a smiling Billups at a press podium, right beside a photo of FBI agents carrying evidence boxes from his home. It was a visual gut punch to the league's image. By midday, an anonymous league source told Yahoo Sports that multiple active players were now under review, sparking rumors that the first wave of indictments was just Phase 1. Insiders whispered that the FBI had dug up group chats and crypto wallet logs connecting players across 6 different teams. If that's true, the next round of charges could drag in hundreds of names and wipe out hundreds of sponsorship deals. The NBA's entire financial backbone, built on advertiser trust, suddenly looked like it could collapse at any second. And collapse it did. Fast. As the arrests hit every major headline, corporate sponsors didn't wait around to see who'd go down next. Within hours, executives from Nike, Coca-Cola, and FanDuel were huddled with their legal teams asking one question: can we afford to stay tied to this mess? By the end of the week, their answer was a loud no. Nike dropped a short but brutal one-line press release. We are suspending all active NBA marketing partnerships pending further review of recent developments. Translation: billions frozen overnight. A senior ad consultant told Front Office Sports that what happened next was the sports version of a bank run. Within 24 hours, State Farm, Rakuten, and Gatorade all pulled the plug on NBA ad budgets. For a league that usually brings in $1.5 billion in sponsor revenue a year, the financial bleeding was catastrophic. On the night of October 24th, Commissioner Adam Silver gathered all 30 franchise owners on an emergency Zoom call. And according to insiders, his voice was trembling as he said, "We are not facing a PR problem. We are facing an existential crisis." Owners were furious. One Western Conference executive reportedly shouted, "You said this gambling partnership was safe." Another demanded that the league suspend all betting-related sponsorships immediately. Silver, looking visibly shaken, warned that the FBI had told him more arrests were coming, possibly even active players. That single sentence shattered the meeting. Within minutes, panic set in. Owners started calculating how to protect their own franchises. Golden State's Joe Lacob even proposed temporarily splitting from the NBA entirely, a move no one saw coming. Golden State's Joe Lacob shocked everyone when he suggested forming an independent sanctioned tournament, a kind of breakaway mini-league meant to preserve sponsor relationships and keep money flowing. Mark Cuban, on the other hand, had a different idea: freeze all player contracts until the Justice Department clarified just how deep this investigation really went. But not everyone agreed. Jeannie Buss fired back, saying that punishing innocent players could spark a players' union strike, something the NBA hadn't seen in decades. By that point, the National Basketball Association didn't even look like a league anymore. It looked like a bunch of corporations in free fall. The very next morning, the NBPA, Players Union, demanded answers. Interim President C.J. McCollum personally called league headquarters asking if the rumors were true, that mass player contracts might be voided overnight. Behind the scenes, his legal team had already heard whispers that franchises like Portland, Charlotte, and Miami were exploring termination for integrity clauses buried deep in standard player contracts. Turns out those weren't rumors. They were real. Leaked documents later obtained by The Athletic revealed that at least 12 teams had already started auditing player communication logs and vetting histories. Two front offices even went as far as to request bank statements from agents, citing emergency integrity protocols. A senior agent told Bleacher Report, "They're treating everyone like a suspect." Within a single week, over 500 players and coaches were officially placed under review. Many of them weren't accused of doing anything wrong. They were just caught in the blast radius. For younger players on non-guaranteed contracts, that meant instant termination with zero warning. The NBA's reputation, once the gold standard for global influence, had now become shorthand for corruption. On CNBC, one finance analyst put it bluntly: when Gatorade and Nike walk away, you're not looking at a scandal. You're looking at insolvency. League accountants estimated potential losses at a staggering $3.8 billion. Between sponsorship withdrawals, canceled ads, and a wave of class action lawsuits from defrauded bettors. ESPN immediately paused its NBA Countdown show indefinitely, citing legal sensitivities. TNT delayed the next Inside the NBA broadcast too, even though Shaq and Charles Barkley's emotional takedown of Billups had already gone mega viral. That clip became the defining symbol of outrage. A millionaire sabotaging his own game for a few thousand in dirty winnings. Fans who once argued about MVP races were now arguing about sentencing guidelines. And the memes, they only made it worse. Hashtags like #NBA blackout and #fix the fix trended for days straight. One viral TikTok even spliced clips of Billups's FBI arrest with poker cards flipping across the screen, captioned "House always wins." The internet had officially turned the scandal into a circus. Then came October 26th, when Commissioner Adam Silver finally faced the press. He looked pale, cornered, and exhausted. "Integrity has always been the foundation of this league," he said. "We will cooperate fully with federal authorities, and we will rebuild trust." But the crowd wasn't buying it. The trust was already gone. Reporters grilled him hard about the NBA's cozy ties to sports betting partnerships, deals Silver himself had pushed since the Supreme Court struck down PASPA back in 2018. One journalist didn't hold back, asking point-blank, "Did you sell out the league to the gambling industry?" Silver didn't answer directly. Instead, he announced that the league would form an integrity task force, a move critics called 7 years too late. Behind the scenes, FBI officials confirmed to ESPN that investigators were now tracking even more players through crypto transactions and burner accounts connected to the betting ring. The more the NBA tried to distance itself, the deeper the scandal seemed to go, like a never-ending spiral that no one could stop. When federal filings were unsealed in late October, the truth hit like a thunderbolt. The documents painted a chilling picture. Mafia figures from the Bonanno, Gambino, and Genovese crime families were allegedly bankrolling and protecting the same rigged poker network that Chauncey Billups was caught up in. In one intercepted text, a suspect bragged, "We got NBA stars bringing in whales. We don't even need casinos." Those face cards, as prosecutors called them, weren't just basketball players. They were bait. The so-called victims, or high-rolling fish, paid six-figure buy-ins thinking they were sitting across from NBA legends. But the truth was way darker. Every single card was known to an off-site operator feeding real-time info through hidden earpieces and modified tables. The Mafia took their cut, the VIG, and if anyone refused to pay, violence followed. The indictment described at least 2 Hobbs Act robberies and multiple extortion cases involving physical threats. In one shocking incident, a victim was pistol-whipped after refusing to pay losses from a fixed game. What made this scandal truly unprecedented was how the same names kept popping up in both criminal schemes: Damon Jones, Eric Ernest, and allegedly Billups himself. The line between NBA celebrity and organized crime had officially disappeared. On Wall Street, panic spread like wildfire. Warner Brothers Discovery, the parent company of TNT, lost nearly $400 million in market value within just 2 trading days, all because investors feared the collapse of its multi-billion-dollar NBA broadcast deal. Even Disney, the parent of ESPN, issued a profit warning, blaming advertising disruptions related to professional sports. At the same time, Las Vegas sportsbooks were spiraling into their own nightmare. DraftKings and FanDuel, who had built massive campaigns around NBA prop bets, suddenly found themselves under federal review, not as suspects, but as victims of insider fraud. The Justice Department subpoenaed their internal trading algorithms to track suspicious betting patterns linked to accounts flagged in the FBI's investigation. And when auditors discovered that some of those bets were coming from foreign crypto exchanges, the DOJ expanded the case internationally, pulling in Interpol and the UK Gambling Commission. What started as a US sports scandal now looked like a global money laundering network. While executives fought over billions, hundreds of innocent players were left in limbo. Rookie contracts were frozen overseas, and players returning to the NBA were told their new deals were on hold until they passed integrity clearance. Even coaches weren't spared. Portland assistant Scotty Brooks told reporters, "Every day feels like someone else could get a call from the bureau." And fans? They were losing faith fast. Ticket sales plummeted by 40% in the first week after the arrests. Local economies around NBA arenas tanked. Vendors, ushers, and small businesses all hit hard by cancellations and closures. In Portland alone, where Billups had once been a hometown hero, over 200 arena workers were furloughed. A season that was supposed to open in celebration now felt like a crime scene. By the end of October, the league held a hush-hush meeting insiders later called the Integrity Summit. It brought together top NBA executives, team owners, and U.S. Attorney Joseph Nola. The FBI's presentation that day was brutal. Agents projected photos of confiscated evidence, altered card shufflers, marked decks, burner phones, and crypto ledgers. According to leaks, Nola looked directly at Silver and said, "You built an empire on betting access, and your empire just turned on you." To calm regulators, the NBA agreed to a temporary suspension of all betting partnerships, a move that would cost the league over $800 million in lost revenue. Silver's private hope was to show good faith before Congress inevitably called for hearings. But the damage was already deep, maybe even irreversible. The final blow came when Gatorade, a sponsor since 1984, announced it was officially cutting ties with the NBA. That one decision sent shockwaves through the sports world. Because if Gatorade was walking away after 4 decades, everyone knew this wasn't just a scandal anymore. It was a total collapse. Gatorade's statement was short, but it hit like a sledgehammer. Effective immediately, Gatorade will discontinue all partnerships with the NBA pending resolution of current investigations. The moment those words went public, the illusion of stability shattered completely. Overnight, the league's image went from golden to toxic. Sponsors fled, broadcasters panicked, and the future of professional basketball started crumbling in real time. Major broadcast networks began cutting NBA coverage mid-season, citing massive advertiser withdrawals. 2K Sports even delayed its annual NBA video game indefinitely, while Nike quietly shut down its entire City Edition campaign. Analysts at Forbes warned that if the scandal stretched into the postseason, the league's valuation could nosedive from $85 billion to under $40 billion, wiping out nearly 2 decades of growth in one blow. When Chauncey Billups and Terry Rozier finally faced their first arraignments, the world was watching. Cameras flashed, news feeds went live, and every headline screamed the same thing: the NBA on trial. Both men pleaded not guilty, with their lawyers arguing that prosecutors were exaggerating their celebrity roles to craft a flashy Mafia story. But the evidence said otherwise. Federal agents had wiretaps, text messages, and even surveillance footage from a Miami poker lounge, showing Billups sitting with known mob affiliates. Rozier's digital trail was just as bad, linking his betting proxies to offshore crypto accounts tied to a man named De Niro Laster, already in federal custody. Even if both men somehow beat the criminal charges, the NBA's internal code of conduct had already sealed their fate. Their careers were finished. But as the cameras clicked and reporters shouted, one truth lingered in the air. This wasn't just about 2 players anymore. This was about an entire league imploding under its own ambition. The trial that followed would go down as the one that destroyed the NBA. The first day of United States versus. Billups et al. Didn't feel like a courtroom. It felt like a funeral for basketball itself. Inside the marble halls of the Eastern District of New York, journalists, FBI agents, and fans packed every corner. Outside, crowds held signs saying "Free Billups" and "NBA sold us out." Inside, the man once called Mr. Big Shot sat quietly behind the defense table, eyes down, wearing the same gray suit he'd worn to his Hall of Fame induction. The irony was brutal. This was supposed to be the day he defended his legacy. Instead, it became the day the FBI exposed the biggest sports leak in modern history. At 10:47 a.m., prosecutors rolled in a cart stacked with sealed evidence bags, laptops, cell phones, and rigged poker gear seized during Operation Royal Flush. U.S. Attorney Joseph Nola stood tall before the jury and said the words that echoed across the internet: "The integrity of professional basketball was sold one text message at a time." Then came the bombshells. Prosecutors played encrypted chat logs between Billups, Damon Jones, and 2 mystery men referred to only as Q and H. One chilling message read, "Starters won't suit up tomorrow." Bet heavy under. "We're running clean." The FBI's cyber team confirmed the timestamp, March 23, 2023, exactly 1 day before Portland's 28-point loss to Chicago. The same game prosecutors say was deliberately leaked for betting profit. But that wasn't even the biggest twist. agents unveiled a video clip from a private Miami poker lounge showing Billups, Rozier, and Damon Jones seated at a rigged table surrounded by known mob figures. The footage was crystal clear, undeniable. That's all it took for the internet to explode. Within hours, NBA Mafia tape was trending #1 worldwide. Millions of fans flooded social media with blurry re-edits and remixes of the leaked footage. Some influencers even claiming they had exclusive versions showing Billups dealing marked cards. The league tried to control the narrative, but by then, it was too late. The world had already seen enough, and the myth of basketball purity was gone forever. Whether that viral NBA Mafia tape truly proved cheating didn't even matter anymore. The damage was already done. The public had seen enough, and the court of public opinion had already delivered its verdict. Then came the bombshell that changed everything. Midway through the second week of the trial, prosecutors revealed their ace card. Terry Rozier had flipped. Facing up to 20 years in prison, Rozier took a plea deal and agreed to testify, voice trembling as he told the court he'd shared injury plans and exit details for quick cash from people I thought were friends. Gasps filled the courtroom when he admitted to a message sent on March 23, 2023. "Take the under on my assists. I'm coming out early." Reporters scribbled frantically as Rozier went on to say the words that detonated across the sports world. "I wasn't the only one doing it. Coaches knew, players knew. Sometimes they told us what to say." The defense objected, but the damage was irreversible. Within an hour, every major outlet blasted the headline, "Coaches knew." That single phrase sent shockwaves through the NBA, forcing officials to reopen investigations into 7 franchises, including Los Angeles, Dallas, and Milwaukee. Just when it seemed the scandal couldn't get any worse, the FBI leaked an internal memo to the New York Times. The document, labeled Confidential Ongoing Investigation, League-Level Exposure, revealed that 10 NBA employees, including a senior operations executive, were under review for obstruction, tipping, or willful negligence. One email excerpt in the memo said it all. "We should avoid public comment that implies risk of manipulation. Betting sponsors won't like that." The memo confirmed what critics had long suspected. The NBA's embrace of sports betting wasn't naive idealism. It was strategic silence. Congress immediately reopened hearings, and Commissioner Adam Silver was dragged back to testify under oath. Looking older than his 63 years, he faced an onslaught of brutal questions. One senator asked, "You personally pushed for betting partnerships. Did you ever once ask if player data could be exploited?" Silver hesitated, then muttered, "We believed our integrity monitoring systems were sufficient." That soundbite defined his downfall. Clips of his stammering reply went viral, overlaid with sarcastic captions like, "Sufficient enough to bankrupt the NBA." The next day, Forbes dropped a brutal headline, "The commissioner who legalized the league's own destruction." Meanwhile, prosecutors struck gold again, this time from inside the Mafia. A Genovese family associate, identified only as Salvatore Vei, flipped in exchange for witness protection. His testimony exposed just how deep the collaboration went. "The basketball guys brought the names," he said. "We brought the muscle. They called it entertainment. We called it insurance." According to Salvatore, Billups and Damon Jones had appeared at exclusive poker nights back in 2019, earning appearance fees and a cut of the profits when celebrity fish joined the games. He detailed how rigged tournaments used concealed sensors and encrypted Bluetooth signals to send card info to an off-site quarterback. Players in on the scam used subtle hand taps and chip movements to coordinate fake wins. The jury sat frozen as FBI reconstructions played on courtroom screens. Glowing X-ray poker tables, wires beneath the felt, the tech so advanced it looked straight out of a spy film. Billups' lawyers argued he was just a public figure, used for credibility, but prosecutors dropped their own bombshell: bank records. 5 wire transfers totaling $126,000 from accounts tied to Damon Jones's shell company, Court Vision LLC. Each payment was labeled event fee. Under cross-examination, an FBI agent confirmed that one of those transfers matched a rigged poker game that netted over $50,000 in illegal profit. When asked if Billups could have been unaware, the agent flatly replied, "Unlikely." In that moment, witnesses said Billups' entire demeanor changed. The once proud coach slumped forward, hands clasped, face hidden. Outside, the chaos kept building. The NBA's finances had officially hit terminal velocity. Sponsorship losses skyrocketed to $5.6 billion as broadcasters invoked moral clauses to renegotiate contracts. Franchises like Charlotte and Portland were rumored to be up for sale. Fans began boycotting games, demanding season ticket refunds, and calling their money blood money. Merchandise sales dropped 70%, and entire retail lines were pulled after Nike and Fanatics terminated their licensing deals. The once booming NBA economy now looked like a sinking ship. Arenas half empty, staff furloughed, the G League even canceled mid-season. The NBPA fought desperately to protect players' paychecks, but when their funds dried up, salaries stopped coming. Stars like Luka Doncic and Jason Tatum went public, furious. "We didn't do this, they did." Soon after, the league slipped into an unofficial lockout, not from failed negotiations, but from financial extinction. Then came one final shock. In February 2026, a sealed FBI report, Project Skyline, appeared on the trial docket. It exposed that a hidden server owned by an NBA-contracted data analytics firm had been hacked by the betting ring. The system built to protect integrity had been weaponized to exploit it. Emails showed that NBA tech staff had flagged suspicious API activity months earlier, but management told them to stand down, worried about upsetting multi-million-dollar sportsbook partners. The lead FBI agent summed it up perfectly. The NBA's anti-corruption platform became the corruption platform. That quote hit headlines worldwide. Stock prices for sports betting companies cratered again, and Congress proposed the Professional Sports Transparency Act, demanding federal oversight on all sports data systems. After 7 grueling weeks, the jury returned its verdicts. Terry Rozier, guilty of conspiracy to commit wire fraud, sentenced to 6 years with credit for cooperation. Damon Jones, guilty on all counts, sentenced to 22 years. Chauncey Billups, guilty of wire fraud, conspiracy, and money laundering, sentenced to 12 years in federal prison and ordered to repay $3.1 million in restitution. When the verdict was read, Billups sat motionless. His wife sobbed quietly in the front row as protesters outside chanted conflicting cries, "Free Chauncey!" and "Ban them all!" Minutes later, the Trailblazers officially terminated his contract. The franchise, drowning in legal fees and debt, filed for bankruptcy protection 2 weeks later. And the dominoes kept falling. 4 assistant coaches were indicted for minor roles. 2 NBA executives were charged with obstruction for deleting messages. The FBI even announced a new phase of the probe, targeting college basketball connections that hinted at NCAA crossover cases. The NBA's once proud global brand was now a case study in business schools, a how not to manual on greed and overreach. The International Olympic Committee stripped the league of its advisory role, citing integrity concerns. And by April 12, 2026, Adam Silver resigned, officially citing health reasons, though insiders whispered the real cause was a string of federal subpoenas. By summer, a stripped-down version of the league emerged, NBA Trust, a joint project between private investors, team owners, and the U.S. Department of Justice. Only 16 teams remained. Betting partnerships were banned, and a federal compliance auditor was embedded in every front office. Every player contract now included what the media dubbed the Silver Clause, a declaration allowing federal monitoring for gambling activity. Viewership dropped by half, but fans said the game felt cleaner, scarred but sincere. Still, the memory of the scandal refused to fade. Every pregame broadcast now began with the same disclaimer. The NBA prohibits all gambling by league personnel. Violations will be prosecuted under federal law. From his prison cell in upstate New York, Chauncey Billups sat behind glass for a 60-minute interview, gray-haired, weary, and broken. When asked what went wrong, he sighed deeply. "They told us gambling would make the game bigger. They never said it would make us smaller." Those words echoed across the world, a haunting goodbye to an empire built on ambition and undone by greed. When asked if he had a message for fans, Billups hesitated, then whispered softly, I'm sorry. Not for what they think I did, but for what I helped destroy. The camera lingered on his face. The man once known for hitting the biggest shots in NBA history, now powerless to make the one that mattered most. And that's where this story ends. But what do you think? Should the NBA have ever embraced betting, or was this fall inevitable? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.